I'm gonna let all y'all come up in here or not, and we're gonna talk about it. First, I want to share some information to my members and potential members. The way the tiers go is the donation tier is a donation tier. There, if you feel you need to put a blessing on me, that is where you do it. Or you CA me at PEKA69. The second tier, the second tier is an extension. And how it works is when I do a reading and I feel like the information that is coming out needs to be behind the scenes for discretion, that's what I do. The third tier, the third tier is a little bit more extensive because on the third tier, you get access to whatever's under it. And the third tier specifically gets their own reading once a week. Now, when you go to 4, 5, and 6, that is the members' version of a one-on-one with me. Now, depending on what's happening with you, the instruction is an hour. So that could be broken down into 5, 6, 2, 1 segments. Now, because I am who I am, there is spiritual protection and healing associated with all the tiers. Now, when it comes down to the donation tier, because the eye is on the sparrow, the Almighty chooses who gets healing there. And this is because there's specific individuals that like to play with others and myself that feel like if they go to the donation tier, they can get the behind the scenes on you, themselves, and me. So when they go to the donation tier, that's what they do it for. They're not coming to bless me. They're coming to be nosy. Now, that's not all of those on tier 1. But as of late, I've had an influx of individuals that feel like their energy is behind there, so they want to know what I know. Now, if you've recently joined tier 1, I appreciate you. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the ones that go and come for the purpose of feeling like they did something on the full moon specifically, and they want to see if I picked it up. So now y'all understand the membership. The higher the tier, the more access you get. Anytime you go to my email, oracleoftheether@gmail.com, that's a one-on-one. When you are a member, it is there for a reason. Because you know what? A lot of people have noticed things throughout their lifespan, and they feel like it's beneficial for them to be on 3, 4, 5, and 6. You understand what I'm talking about? So, to all of my members, I appreciate you, even the ones that come to feel the energy, because it's all a part of the Almighty's plan. You know what I'm talking about? So, greetings. Greetings. Now, for those of you that do CA me, you want a one-on-one, understand that the increase is because of the clearing. Some of y'all need major clearing. And I can tell when I pull your energy. Now, there's no secret. I've been doing this since the beginning. However, because ascension is involved, that's something new. When you start socializing and fraternizing and all of that with individuals that are really low, it sticks to you. Now, this is something that I've been explaining on this platform since the beginning, and others too. So that's the reason for that. Now, if you feel like you need to upgrade, please do. If you feel like you don't need to be a member, then don't be. Because it's an open door. Now, regarding open doors, a red door specifically that may or may not be your ride, I see bars on there, and that's not a good thing. Greetings. Now, if you've been a member for a very long time, you already know the spiel. The live is an addition. The live comes because you know what? I get tired of having to sit in energy that is not appreciative, that feel like I should be doing everything for free. There's no part of healing on or off this platform that is free. That's just that on that. Some have been members and haven't asked for nothing for years. That speaks volumes. Those are my true supporters. Now, if you can't, that's understandable. Those that can't, they do things like share. They hype me up. They pray for me. You know what I'm saying? That's good energy, because when you're somebody like myself, you're constantly having to associate with individuals that don't realize their energy is low. Now, if you could hear the things that go on in people's mind about who they're looking at, who they're talking to, who they want to talk to, you will understand why I was needed. Most people's perception of angels are they are there for their protection, which is partially true. But angels once walked the earth, and some still do. Could you imagine being an original angel and realizing that someone down the line that did you dirty is going to call on you for protection? My platform is serious. Because when you start talking about reincarnation and incarnation, that means you once be. You were somewhere else at one point. And if you're someone like myself, the Almighty will take those visions and those memories of detrimental past lives. He'll take them from you because there's too much aim associated with it. So when you hear me talk, this is not a front. I am serious about my life. When I first came on here, I noticed some things. You know, you say you're going to keep your head down. You're not going to get into nobody else's, chaos. You feel like that's how you're going to do it, and that's how you're going to get ahead. I'm going to let people speak their piece. If it's some issue, I'm not going to pick sides because I don't know what's going on. That was prior to me knowing who I am and what I am. But you just get irritated, aggravated, agitated. Because when someone feels like you don't know the game, they try to play with you. I'm an observer first. And so here we are here. When you hear me speak about longevity, I know what that means. Even if it's a rocky path. The reason why it's important is people need to understand what the membership is for. If you are expecting to see a member, a tier 1 reading every week, I'm not going to meet that obligation all the time, because that's not what it's for. Now, I was told not to put nothing on there by instruction from the Almighty and my spiritual spouse. They both agreed. Don't put nothing there, because when they come on that tier, the ones that is messy, that's what they do. When you go see the doctor, do you sit and talk about somebody else to the doctor? That's what therapy is for. But y'all don't even go to therapy or do that. I'm not a therapist. I'm a spiritualist. It's a difference. I shut it down. I shut every comment section down. One being because the individuals that are mature, when they come see those videos, they don't want to, happen to glance at the comment section and somebody can't control their emotions. My stuff is not made for KIDS. It's set automatically. You got to have a certain level of maturity. But people tend to not believe it when you're on the www, which, let me remind you, is Satan's. I don't know what y'all heard. I know this for a fact. Some of y'all believe it's an artist, www, but I know that it is not theirs, it is Satan's. So if you don't like the U world, you need to mosey up off the www, because that belongs to him. I'm sitting here, I'm appreciative for one. Something said either, why you go live so much? And my answer was, because I want to, that's what it's for. If I decide to go live 10 times a day, I can do it. I might go live 20 times in one day, and then the next day, you won't hear from me. Not on no live, because that's how my life is set up. I be going through things. You understand what I'm talking about? I don't know why y'all feel like when you are an angel that you have access to the Almighty 24 hours a day. That's not true. Because a lot of times when you're working, you gotta freeball it. You know what I'm talking about? You just gotta make decisions, and, depending on who you are, it doesn't matter how he feels about it, because he done gave you access and he not saying nothing. You know what I'm saying? Just like that. You be sitting there saying, I done did umpteen thousand million things to this angel. In a minute, one of them Asikinos come down on your skull, you want to start talking about Almighty. Almighty, why are you? Your angel. Almighty, get your angel. That's my favorite. And you know what he do? Nothing. Just like he did when you did it to them. You feel me? So, this is the reign of the elect ones. You know what that means? From this point on, you don't know who you influenced in a negative manner. You don't know their life. You don't know their skills. You don't know their spiritual gifts. You don't know. Because that's the way they want it. That way, if you're reincarnated and incarnated, you don't have someone pulling on your coattail that you don't know is there. Destiny swap. Let me clear my throat. Those things are real. And you got to get to a certain age before you realize it. You just chilling, then all of a sudden, you look up and you hear something. You're like, what is that? Is that a helicopter? Because that's not what I did. I said, Almighty, is that you? For real? Because you sound like that actor a little bit. And after you get used to the voice, you say, oh, that's pretty good. You know what I'm talking about? You're like, all right. It feels calming. It feels healing. You ever just get a healing from the Almighty himself? That HIT different. Almighty, the shaman. Y'all ain't used that one yet. I have. I got it first. So now, when you see it, everything's gonna pop up that has it in it. I was just sitting here and I was thinking, you ever just felt like everything was straight? Everything was tucked, so you think. Everything was masked. You just chillaxing, putting one in the air where it's fair, and then you hear a German Shepherd barking? Because I have. And you're like, wait a minute, where you come from? Do you ever just divert something and you wonder how it happened? You just sitting there with stuff in your hand and they didn't see it. That's Almighty. You see how that works? It's like 1,001 ninja saying, I remember that. Then you realize he on your side. You know what I'm talking about? Then you don't know if you should go to Urch or not. You don't know if you should put a donation in there. Maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't, depending on who you are. You know what I'm saying? You just believe all the wrong things. And it's detrimental. You feel me? You just sitting there condemning yourself for no reason. Turns out you was wrong. But you all right. You perfect in his eyes. With all your flaws. Speaking of flaws, I was sitting here with my meditation bonnet on. Aether sells meditation bonnets coming to a store near you. And I said, let me go live. And I said, wait a minute. Let me look. You know how you first turn on the camera? And depending on the angle, you look strange and unusual. This is how regular folk learn angles. You know what I'm saying? You got it up there, you got it over there. You got it in front of you. Because I looked down and I said, wow, I look like somebody's grandma. Then I thought about it, I am. Go figure, I'm somebody's grandma. Me. You ever just be listening to somebody and they forgot they was a parent? Yeah, there it is there. I, you mean to tell me you forgot the biggest part? We was waiting for it. No, truly. You ever see something and say, is he talking about me? Because I am. It's going to be a reading coming out, y'all. Bear with me. You know, when I said, does anyone have any questions? You know, about some previous content, not about your life. That's what it's for, right? The lives. But what I'm figuring out is people don't want me on live like that. They just want to sit in my energy. And it's fine, because a lot of times these are my peoples. Whether or not if they see it like that. If you watching me, if you a member, if you share, you're my peoples. Because you're helping me to eat. You understand what I'm saying? The funny thing about recessions, right? You don't realize what a recession is until them zeros go down. Recessions will humble some of the most biggest people. Because no matter what occupation you have, it's a service. And for it to work, there's got to be give and take, right? That means you have a product and they want it. If you're an entertainer, a celebrity, you know, a player, you have something they want to see. That's got to feel good. But when you look at the economy, that's when you start getting off into them icks. Because them zeros start dropping. Then it becomes a us thing. You know what I'm talking about? When you do better, I do better. That's how it is. The public does better. The world does better. This is how we accumulate finance. I don't know of any field where you can just get money without the public. So that means even the littlest person counts. That's a humbling experience. Some need to be off in them icks and they don't realize it because that's their calling on this era, in this era. Because you know how to make it make sense. You ever just see someone and they say everything the right way to where you understand it? It brings me back to my school days where you have all these teachers and they're explaining stuff and you don't understand and it make you don't want to go because you're not flourishing. You don't understand what they're talking about. You don't know where to start. And a lot of times they forget that you're an adolescent. So that means you don't know this information. It's different when you've come across information before. You know, You know of it. You may not know the specifics, but you know of it. But when you can get an instructor, a professor, a teacher that can explain something to you in a way where you get it, that's a beautiful thing. Communication is key, right? You got to be able to understand, to conceptualize, and not that way. Because apparently, you don't need no understanding. All you need to do is bend them over. You know what I'm saying? That's how you feel, not me. Six likes up. Can I get 6 likes up? 6 likes up in this stuff. So I'm sitting here. My favorite is, did she put out the video for tier 1 yet? It's always to someone that's on that tier, you know what I'm saying? And we all just be sitting there like, because for some reason, they feel like we can't hear them in our realms. It's funny. You ever just have somebody in your house, your apartment, your unit, and they talking about you like you're not there? You know what I'm talking about? And you're like, wait a minute, I'm here. Did you put out? I'm just gonna unsubscribe. I mean, unmember. You ain't even a member. So you trying to be an influencer now? When I say, what's your channel? They hear like 10 angels, 10 men angels. What's your channel? That's how they be doing. They say things like, she ooped because they working with us. And I be like, is that right? Almighty, you hear this? Yes, I do. Because I'm saying, wow, they think their incantation made me not able to hear. That's powerful. Why you ain't got no money? That's what that be me saying. Why you ain't got no money then? Because if you could do all this to me, make my views go down, do this, that, and the third, why you ain't got no money? Because you wasting your time. If I could do it, I surely wouldn't be wasting my time on you. Because I'm not doing it right now. See how that works? How it works is I go live and they shut the TF up. That's how it works. If Ether was to go live on the gram, you would hear a lot of bleep, 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 bleep. So, that's what I'm working with. Take it or leave it. You be like, what? Okay, wait a minute, rewind it. One day I might go live. You know what I'm saying? Just to see what happened with the camera in my direction. No, you see Nakifisia Ishifikiti. Either will not have a camera directed towards her face. Period. Oh, all right. You ever just be sitting there wondering what Ether really sound like? That's me laughing right there. That's how I sound. Y'all seen any daddy content? Because I have. They be getting you mixed up with trash. You know how you see something that has the potential to blow up and you just like, I'm staying out of that. Because You know the thing about celebrities, stars, players, and things. When you start recording that screen, they know you're doing it. So it's like you use me, I use you, and then later on the line, I might strike you. See that? See how that works? They don't think fat made crazy. you know, it is a give and take, right? Have I had any what have I had any what? No, I ain't had none of that. No, I ain't had none of that. Y'all notice when people comment, it's funnier. I am not a stand-up comedian, nor do I aspire to be. This is me when I'm in good spirits. When I would do it on my videos, people would be B-U-T-T hurt. Because it's like they want you to be miserable like them. Y'all know anything about that? It's like some people don't like it. It's like, who raised you? Like, they don't know how to act in public settings. They feel like the WWW is their toilet bowl. You know what I'm talking about? And that's the reason why I cut my comment section off. Because how I am, I've been and said something. Right? And so I feel like if somebody feel froggy, they should leave while I'm on live. Because then it's in the air where it's fair, and then everybody will know why it happened. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not saying that it won't ever happen. What I'm saying is I want everybody to see when it happened, so it'll be documented. You understand what I'm talking about? Y'all need to understand that I am truly a respectful person. I feel like it's ways to do things. Comedy, for instance. It's ways to do comedy where it doesn't have a nasty taste in the person you're talking about mouth. Because you know how you just be like listening to somebody and you be like, wait a minute. They talking about me. Because I have that slick talk. Hood comedians. They got one foot in your dough and the next to somebody else, and in between, they trying to get you to go at each other type-ish. You ever just see somebody that's just, they whole hemoglobin line is just messy. Grandma was messy. Mama, auntie, and them, they all messy. Them sons is messy. Your sister. Your other boyfriend, dude. Messy, all of them. And they like it. You know what I'm saying? Let me clear my throat. Listen, I say things right, and I say, that remind me of my father's side. That remind me of my childhood. This put me in the mind state of past life. When I be in observation, that's what I do. It is interesting how everyone, I've never I've never ever met anyone that did not desire to have a strong family unit. Whether if it's biological or not. Because it's a sense of stability, support when you have a strong family unit. You know what I'm talking about? And when you get to a certain age and you're able to conceptualize what's taking place spiritually with yourself, with your family, you start just being like, wait a minute, something not right. That's where I come in. Because if you once had a strong family unit, that means it's potential to have it again. However, some things got to be moved out the way. Some people, some energy. That's where I come in. Because this is what the Almighty created me for. I feel like that is my purpose for being here. This is why the Almighty said, I'm going to put your father with your mother. Because I know if I combine these two DNA, I have a chair. You see how almighty he is? You ever just said, I do not want the Almighty's job? Because I have. You know how many have tried to have the Almighty's job? We see examples of it every day. I remember a couple of times I said, man upstairs, get your creation. Just get them. This is where they got Almighty. Get your angels from. Because, you know, some things the archangels say because they know the outcome. I don't like it. I'm talking to somebody else, and here you is eavesdropping. And you telling them what I'm talking about. I don't like that. But, you know, turns out we on a mission, so it's nothing. What can I do? I can't do nothing about it. So they start feeling like they me, and they start saying, Uncle. And you hear somebody say, I do not like you. You just be like, he don't like you. You didn't hear that, huh? Because if you did, you wouldn't be saying Asekio. This is how the hieroglyphs got misinterpreted for those that had that thought. Because people that are phenomenal thinkers, they say this has to have been happening since the beginning. Not the beginning of the time. So that means in the beginning, there was direct communication with the Almighty. There's reference to that in Scripture because he brought forth Jesus because he didn't want to talk to nobody no more. So he became the medium. Yes. You can only get to the Father through me is a prime example. And he meant it, turns out. Because he said, I don't care what y'all do. And when he said, I don't care what y'all do, I'm not talking to you, he turned around. And you know what happened when he turned around? I said, Kino. That's what happened. It was mayhem. It is sad. But we fixing it. Some of y'all feel like you're not going to be here to see the end, and you're wrong. You know, There's no end. It's infinite. Some of y'all, if you know you're a being, that means you will always be. Just like these ones that didn't want to leave. They would say, there's nothing either could do about it. Right? So I said, all right. What you're not going to do is put a T on my members. I shut that down quick. Some didn't realize that that was their way out. Because the whole purpose of them coming together was to see me, P-O-O-R. Now here we are. I wasn't that far from it in the beginning. That's the cold part about it. You know what I'm talking about? That's what I'm saying. When you see a table full of money, you say that's a lot of money. You see it's all stacked up side by side. It's a whole desktop, nightstand full of money. You say that's a lot of money, right? Depending on what you got stacked up, you may have 10 racks, 20, depending on who you are. But when you start factoring in, say you are somebody that's used to making $50,000 a week, but you don't know it because you're not putting them O's behind your name. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. You used to make $50,000 a week, but you don't know it. It's not that you're not good at mathematics. It's that as soon as you get it, you spend it. So here we have the introduction of these facilities where they say, put your coin here. When you put your coin here, you can see it grow. Step back away from the Lexuses and Beamers and, stuff for rich men and women. One thing about these type of luxury cars, because that's what they are. You ever notice they foreign? You go, you'll spend $2,600,000 on a house. Then you'll go and spend $60,000 on a luxury car. Then you lose your job, or people can't show up to your shows because they ain't got no money. It's cool. House paid for, car paid for, everything paid for. And then they say, access. And you be like, what? What you mean? It's only once a year? What? You ever just say, I got enough, right? Everybody think you balling. Remember that, balling? I do. Everybody think you balling. At this point, all you want is a buck L so you can skirt around town and nobody see you. Gas is extremely too high in them luxury cars. You know what I'm saying? You just want an old bucket. Nobody gonna think it's me. You ever just feel like it's time for you to get a bucket because you want some peace? I haven't. I ain't been there yet. That's something to see. Could you imagine Busta Rhymes getting out of a old buck L? What kind of bucket you think Buster would get? Think he gonna get him one of them nasty pieces of Buicks? Let me see. Does Buster look like a Buick man? Let me see. Yeah. He gonna be in the scraper going to hell of dummy. Let's see. Oh, y'all think them HE double hockey stick cats are buckets? Where? Not out here. I ain't seen no bucket cost no 30 racks. They usually like 700, 15. You know what I'm talking about? Apparently not. You been over there to that auction? Let me get 2 thumbs up, 2 thumbs up. Give me 2 thumbs up. It's up in the stuff. You ever just been to the auction and you buy something and then you can't drive it off the lot? Ha! Gotcha. He said the one she's sitting in came from the auction. Well, you think so? I don't. I don't. Nope. I know that's a fib. You ever just realize that somebody have never encountered your caliber? It's maybe be hard to fathom. You just be sitting there like, they got the wrong idea about me. You start quoting Snoop lyrics. This is perfect. He said everything, 1 bar. That's it. Sweet, short and sweet. Like him. Yeah. I say HE double hockey stick cats for everyone. Everyone. You get a car. You get a car. You get a car. Y'all remember that? You like, what? I got to get to see Oprah. If my life depended on it, where she gonna be? She don't do that in the hood. Nope, she sure don't. And we know why. I remember the first time I heard that, I looked at the TV screen and said, who get in the car? Oh, man. Oh, man. Icons. You ever seen Martha Stewart do the seawall? Y'all remember that? You remember when Snoop Dogg appeared with Martha Stewart? I was like, that's a fusion right there. Everybody knew Martha was for the hood then. We started buying all her stuff. Let me get her Tupperware plates. What she got? She got some crochets. That's Marie Callender's. Listen. Martha Stewart became popular in the hood. At one point, you know what I'm saying? Martha rolling like that? All right. Everybody speculating Did Martha put him on? Did he put Martha on both? It's a collab. You know what I'm saying? An unlikely collab. That was iconic. For those of you that are like myself and you feel like you love your city, you love your hood, you don't ever want to leave, I can understand that. Partially because you don't know what's out there. You may have toured, you may have been there, but you don't know the ins and outs. I'm the type of person, even if I were to come to someone's city, you wouldn't know I was there because I'd be in the hotel all the whole time. I'm not going to no tourist attractions. I'm not going to no clubs. I just came to breathe the air. The air is nice here. Oh, look at that. They have 3 bars of soap. That's nice. Room service. That gave me gas. I'm not going to order that again. You ever just realize mimosa is orange juice and that old W-I-N-E? Because I have. Like, wow. Is this what it is? The pain? This is what it is? This is what it is. I blame it on the entertainers. They be making stuff sound like it's so good. Sipping on mimosas. You like, yeah. I'm gonna order me one of them when I get to the club. Give me a mimosa. You ever tried to order a mimosa at the club? I don't know about y'all, but I was over there at our mids saying, give me one of them hurricanes, but you can cause hurricane. That's my air. Yeah, they have the little Ziplocs. Get you a little nasty piece of pineapple juice with some blue stuff. You still don't know what it is. They probably say you shouldn't drink that now. About 2 or 3 shots. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't sitting at the bar saying, give me a mimosa. But apparently that's what ladies do. They sit and order mimosas. I had someone that I was interested in, right, in my 20s. And I already told y'all, when I come on, when either come on, it's strong. When I want you, you gonna know. There's no doubt about it. You know, you ain't gonna never have to want to. He just, you know, hood celebrity, of course, right? Cool, laid back, clean cut all the time. Took care of his child, everything. So I said, I'm gonna get him one day. Sure did. I was in my 20s. I said, yeah, that one's mine right there. I'm gonna lick it. I remember I was there. I said, I got him. I seen him going into the club. And I did some kind of move. Next thing you know, he was up against the wall. You ever see that move in the movies? He was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold up. What you doing? I bet he still laugh about that to this day. Because, you know, he'd probably be like, her? You think she like you? What she do? What she do? You know what I'm talking about? It's funny because it ain't. It's a handful that can say, "I did that." A handful. It's like, I don't know. Maybe it's that past life energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know you. No matter what happens, if you have a karmic path, right? Because the majority of us do. I done worked off mine 3 lifetimes ago. So the majority of us have a karmic path. That's not just solely our makeup. But what that talks about is you're going to encounter individuals from past lives that you may or may not be cool with. And depending on who you are, determines the outcome. So I kind of feel like, some people, when you meet them, you say, I feel like I know you. It's because you do. He was one of them. I never got, I never was intimate with him or nothing. I think I came on too strong. What y'all think? Oh, that's interesting there. Y'all say either over there. Strong arm. I definitely was. Something came over me. And it wasn't the yak. Because I hadn't had none yet. There was a concoction called Beautiful. When you drank it, everything was beautiful. Y'all know anything about Beautifuls? Because I do. Yeah, that was my brown days. I like that Tron. It's been a minute. Maybe about almost a year. I don't be doing stuff like that, I like that. I like the Zuli. The Zuli, you know what I'm saying? Have you ever just looked in the bottle before you started drinking it? We call it a Zuli. We know it's a Zul. You ever just looked and said, a genie is supposed to go in there? Because the people in the code know. I'm just sitting here looking at it get dark because where I'm at, I can't see the sun going down. Oh, there it is. You gotta look in the trees. It's nice and peaceful. Y'all want me to talk about? Y'all want me to talk about me coming on too strong? Well, gotta be something about you for that to happen. That level was minute. Sure, it was physical, but when it's spiritual, that's something to see. You ever just notice somebody's uncomfortable on camera? And you just wonder why? Me? It's because of me. One thumbs up. Can I get one thumbs up? One thumbs up. It's up and stuck. Well, courgette. Ici financier. It's don't do that. Yep. Guess y'all know who that is. That's how I gotta do it, you know. They be acting like they don't want to say their name. Say my name, say my name. Ici qui n'est si facile. Je peux sortir à si cantina. Yo say. If y'all knew that Oshun was on my team, y'all be like, what? Say it. Oshun, that Yemiya. Do some of y'all feel like I think Yemiya is a karmic, which is laughable? When you talk about Oba, you have to understand that Oba is Osi. She is one of the highest rankings sobre Natashi. You feel like you know because of Brazil, but she is from Accra, Nigeria. So, if you would like to get a past life, present karma reading, you'll know why you keep mistaking Oba for Yemiya. Know what I'm talking about? Well, the thing is, right, what I feel like is happening, the ones that believe in me are not in the position to get a reading, regardless if you think they're rich or wealthy or not. That's how the man upstairs works. To see what you're going to do when you get your next income. Because some sit there and say, Almighty, this time then came and went 100 times. Those are the ones that say, did you put the reading out yet? Later on they be saying, switch. Because they feel like they can inhabit your domain, your energy, your work, your career, your body, your family, all because they done spent 3 years communicating with you in your mind. And you think y'all friends. You're not gonna hear no one on my team say you are their friend. This is a fact. When I said that one is to any underworld being, any. When she heard Jeezy Bezel, she said, he sound like he fighting mama. Trifling is right. If y'all would have known, and it's a group of them that felt like Astro doing a do was the best way to do it because they don't have to see their face. You know what I'm talking about? When you start getting all these weirdos and sickos and their beliefs that try to persuade you that the you world is the facilitators of some of y'all abominations, you'll understand that that's not them. Those are beings posing to be them, like they do these celebrities, these entertainers, and these players. I spoke about this before. There are some that believe if they see you with a no connection signal at the bottom, that means you're a being to them, and that means that they could do something to you. When it finally got in their thick skull that I am not a witch, they couldn't say it's Ether doing it, because Ether was a healer when I came on the platform, and I'm going to remain a healer, almighty willing. And it is because of the tarot they felt everyone would believe that I was doing what they were doing. Because of the ignorance. When I try to inform you that the doctrine is not for you, or it's a misprint, or it's completely, utterly tall tales, y'all say, I believe everything in it. No, you don't. Because this whole section right here, this whole chapter right here, you ain't talking about that. And that's your whole life right there. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Who is this? Whole life. How come you ain't talking about your sins? And you looking, trying to find one scripture that talks about tarot. It's not even legitimate. The person that wrote that is a Asifio. I know you don't think all holy people has something to do with that scripture, that doctrine. You heard of revision? If something was holy, why would you have to revise it? Oh, wait a minute. She has a point there. Why would you want to revise something that is holy? It don't make sense. You know what I feel like? Everyone that touched it said, I'm going to influence nations. That's what I believe. Because when I said, Almighty did not drop that out the sky. Because y'all say it's God's words, and I'm saying God's words come through me. And others. But for some reason, if Asikina said, Moses, go to Mount Sinai, because that's how we say it, it had nothing to do with a commandment. The funny thing about what they believe is I know the truth. You know what I'm talking about? And I don't need no scripture. I don't need no doctrine right here in front of me. Because I got it. I got the people, you know what I'm saying? The beings, the angels. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we don't need the middleman. Just screw him over. Because he going to do what the rest of them do. Give you all somebody else's information. When you hear somebody say, I'm channeling Andromedians, and you don't hear a change in their voice, that means it's a script. Because those type of supreme beings definitely can make your voice change. You ever just realize you're not a supreme being? Because she just did. Like, if you're not coming up with your own concepts, your own beliefs, and you have to back up some falsity with some more falsity, you're not an original. You're in the way. See how that works? They believe that I just need to lay down and bust one. That's what they're saying. That's not what I need. God Almighty knows what I need, and that's not one of them. That's not one of the things I need. I'm trying to tell you, He know every last need, and that's not one. Promise you. So I've been on, oh, this is a long live here. I'm interested to see, we have 9 thumbs up and 6 people so far. You know, when I get off, I see 100. Yep. When it's like this, it's peaceful. I believe that is the reason why the man upstairs does not allow this to be bombarded with a whole bunch of chaos. Because people need to realize that I'm a person and that angels are people. First. When you think about it like that, it makes sense. Oh, since Archangel Michael is so important to everyone, Archangel Michael was once Michael. You know what I'm talking about? You say, what's up, Michael? How you doing today? I said, Kenia Sishikati. You see what I'm saying? Just like that. He's saying how we know that is Archangel Michael. Because I just told you. That's how you know. That could be an alien. Now you know, Archangel Michael ain't an alien. You see how that works? Because you don't know. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to write a doctrine. Since you believe everything in the doctrine is correct, I'm going to write one. And then I'm going to spell holy the correct way. Then I'm going to present it. Somebody said that is against the LAW. You think? Then why they do it? You don't know who created that version. All you know is it's several. If you're from my era, the one you are familiar with is the King James. When you realize then it made several different versions, you start understanding why it's revised. You say, wait a minute. Have you seen a doctrine lately? They don't use that special paper no more. They don't highlight chapters in red. It's not like your grandmama's book. If somebody were to take all of the different versions and put them side by side and decide they want to see all the changes, I would say don't waste your time, because the King James one is not accurate either. Do you know, have you ever just researched the first Bible? Because it's not King James, apparently. Because I did. You know, when you grow up Pentecostal, it's funny how you do that. Because you want to make sure that you're doing the right thing. You grow up singing in a church and grandmama, taking you to church and all that. You want to make sure that you're doing the right thing. Because I did. You know what I'm talking about? I didn't just wake up and say, okay, I'm just going to talk the things in my mind and I'm so sure and I'm going to pick up tarot and oracle cards. And you don't think I researched that stuff? You don't think I said, I heard somewhere that this was not feasible for my belief. Funny thing about the Almighty, He has a way of making you walk the left-hand path just because He wants others to see. You know what I'm talking about? He just wants others to see. And then when it's your turn, He's going to say, remember Ether's walk. That's what He's going to say. When you decided to condemn her for a deck of playing cards, if you were to say it's a combination of the cards because of the Baphomet on there, do y'all realize that that is Baphomet on the Rider-Waite deck? Because I have. That's Baphomet. You don't even know the difference between Coupe de Ville and Baphomet. We're not on the same level. You ever just notice how the image changes in these decks? I said the Orisha one has Pawn there. It's like Coupe de Ville right at the bottom, but I know for a fact that's Pawn. If you don't know the difference between Pawn, Baphomet, Isikinio, Jezebel, the Devil, then you shouldn't be doing tarot or tarot. That's what you're letting in your house. You don't know. There is a reason why they say, I'm not doing this no more. You know what I'm talking about? No, I'm not doing this no more. It's bad. It's bad for you because it was not your pathway in the beginning. And when they informed you by making all of the cards fly off the table, you said it's an entity in here. I said it's a tsunami. You know what I'm talking about? How could cards be so intimidating? If I said, remember that reading where I threw those DICE? You would say, well, that's not there, but they want to make you think it is. If you knew that Baphomet was on those DICE, you wouldn't have been searching so hard looking for them. I still have them. I just don't use them. Because my universe father said, Asifi. And that means wait. My family cool, y'all. Cooler than the breeze. Some of y'all, HE double, hockey sticks, razors. Y'all family, y'all don't even know it. You don't even know it. This type of family unit is totally different from a biological one. To know that you are spiritually protected, I think it's a major blow when individuals realize that the Almighty made archangels the guardians of protecting people. Not arch, not saints. If you have saint in front of your name, that means at one point you were deceased in that occupation. That means someone took you out and you were in the clergy. Make sense? Now, for me, if I see a saint that is inhabiting a body that may or may not be biologically theirs, I'll say that's a saint. Living and breathing saint. Typically, that is the elders. Those are 100. You have to be 100 to be a saint in the body. When you think about biblical times, and they say he or she lived to be 346. Now, y'all are getting it. Typically, the average person in a lifespan at the most will go 110. When you look at the biblical aspect of things, and they say they live to be 500, how could you live to be 500 and your bones not be decaying? They're talking about an era that we know nothing about. When I say all of these thous and these and all of that is not for us, we were just indoctrinated. It just became the way of the world, which is a beautiful thing when you want to give prayers up. You send positive energy to negate the negative energy, to even it out, balance it out. Because there's so much, and so many are confrontational and emotional, and they don't know how to process their own emotions. Their mind state is messed up. So you send prayers up and blessings come down. That's the way it is. Not everybody needs to pray because not everybody has a belief where they need to pray. When you start dibbling, dabbling into different cultures and different beliefs, therein is your problem. Because if something is located in Asia, Israel, it's for a reason. That means it's not for you. If you just decide that, hey, this is not, there's nothing wrong with being interested in someone else's doctrine, because that's what it is. It has nothing to do with culture. It's doctrine. Sacred doctrine. It's for them. The thing about a deck of playing cards, I could say meditation cards are tarot cards and just burst your bubble right there. Because it would be all cards. You know how many use playing cards to Intuit? They use Uno. I spoke about this before. My first deck that was gifted to me was a deck that was created by a pastor. Yep, they're oracle cards. You wouldn't look at them and say these are tarot cards because they have a pastor's face on them. You would say, oh, these are pastor cards. That don't sound right. It don't flow. How about tarot or oracle? Because then that brings you down to the level you're trying to put me on. Blasphemy is not for me. Blasphemy is actually for your heritage. You know, when I ran across you specifically, I said, she's been bringing good music for a very long time. I thought so. You know how some people see your stuff and it just moves them the wrong way because all of it's true? You ever see someone thirsty for the Almighty, and no matter what avenue you take, he's still not connecting? That's major right there. I don't know if I could go on if the Almighty just really turn his back. Like, you'll know if the Almighty turn his back on you. There's a whole paradigm where he did not talk. You know how much aim is associated with that realm? Some of y'all don't even realize that some of the stuff you're communicating with in your mind comes from that realm. And they're waiting for you to do something so they can say, switch. Y'all know what I'm talking about? If you were to ask the men upstairs that question, it's not why did he do it? We did it. Specifically, some of y'all. Y'all did it. And then when certain factions of cherubs like myself came to fix it, y'all said, put her on the cross. You know what I'm talking about? In so many words. You attempted to do it this time. You did it previously. You think I don't hear y'all saying, we did it before, so it's possible. All in my realm. The ethereal realm. All up there, talking in your mind. You didn't even know that a Palladian is ETs. You didn't even know that. He over there like, so you not talking about that club? Nah, I'm not talking about the club. I'm laughing with the angels because he really want to know what it is, and that's what spikes your interest. When I seen tarot, the person that delivered it was anointed because she knew everything that was happening. Because again, I grew up Pentecostal. I was already into astrology. And you know, in certain parts, in certain denominations, all of that, you know, you can't do none of that with that belief, scripture. You're not supposed to know your zodiac sun sign. You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to use your intuition. You know, it's like condemnation. Pretty much they saying, be oop-it and ask me all the questions. This is why it's so thick. And it felt like every question anyone could ever wonder about the Almighty and what took place in that time was written. And when they seen that didn't work, they revised it. When they figured out that they weren't interpreting the words correctly, that added another problem. Because somewhere along the line, somebody slipped up and told the truth. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Or did that go over your head? Somewhere down the line, there was a misprint, unknowingly, and somebody told the truth. That is it.